I don't think that Kalyan Chaubey, without party support, he wouldn't win one vote. Believe me. So that's not a good choice. He was flying with 3 different flights without one single minute of sleep all night to reach Guwahati after Afghanistan team. And then people ask how we lose against Afghanistan.
Okay. Coach, one thing that has been in the media and also now pointed out by the AIFF in their statement is the astrologer. I think for once and for all, I want you to sort of end that thing. Who is this astrologer? What is this conversation about the astrologer? Did it happen? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Football Unplugged with me, Satvik. And I have none other than the former coach of the Indian national football team, Mr. Igor Stimac, with me. Igor, again, thank you so much for your time. And I'm really looking forward to a very fruitful conversation.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
Perfect. Igor, again, before diving into what has happened over the last month and a half, I want to go back to 2019, right? For someone with such a big CV or such a fancy CV as yours, playing in the World Cup, managing the Croatian national team, why did you even decide to come to India? Why did India sound like a project to you, or what made you come to India?
I answered that question quite a few times, At that moment, I had a nice request from one friend of mine who is Indian to consider India as an option for the future. And analyzing everything what's going on in India, going through the under 17 World Cup bunch, which was there, representing India, and having quite few communications with the people who are involved with football in India, I decided to take that huge challenge and to participate at the tender at that time, which was announced for the job. Simple as that. So the size of the challenge and new country, new experience. There is always plenty to learn. Never mind where you go, So I decided to go for it. Simple as that.
Understood. So, coach, when you first came in, right? Obviously, coming from a footballing nation, a football dominant nation, right? When you first came in as the manager, what were some clear gaps that you saw? Some clear structural flaws that you saw in the structure in Indian football that were very obvious to you the moment you entered.
Oh, there were many. Not enough games, not competitive league, not enough competitions, not a proper coaching with the players, non-developed players, not enough players, low rankings in regards to the ambitions, unrealistic expectations. Many things were quite disappointing, to be honest, but that's in most of the countries in Asia, to be honest. Apart from the 7-8 leading countries in Asia, less or more, it's everywhere the same. The way of running the federation, the logistics, the travels, all what's there, which should be realized and executed in a professional way. If we speak about football, it's totally amateur approach, So quite different from what I used to witness in the football world.
So, coach, when you're talking about unrealistic expectation, right? Yes, World Cup is a far-fetched thought with the current scenario, right? It's quite far. But were there any other what unrealistic expectations do you think, as fans or as a footballing nation, that we have?
For dreaming big without having a base of fundamental things for such a huge dreams, when I discovered everything about what was needed for me to know about India in the first 5-6 months, then I decided to turn things around completely. not to follow what's been done in the past 4 or 5 years under Steven, because people wanted to watch exciting football. People wanted to see India trying to play football, in a proper way. So for such a thing, I needed to start new selection of the players. I needed to introduce and give the chance to many players who were there available, and to be aware that I will not be able to have a same 11 game by game because of the unprofessional approach to the football calendar and the football league, which is making players suffer many injuries throughout the season. And all these things were disadvantages, but at the end of everything, I can say that we did a great job, that somehow we developed the passion. We brought the passion back there into Indian football. We started playing exciting football which was attracting the attention from the new fans, not only the fans who were used to follow the football. Winning 4 trophies speaks for itself, So I don't remember who was the last manager winning 4 trophies, international trophies for India. And at the end of the day, disappointment, because how everything finished shouldn't be like that, Should be, whatever is the end, it needs to be in a decent way, not like it happened.
Correct. Coach, we'll dive into everything that happened over the last month as well. But now that you're talking about beautiful football, I remember 2023. Last year, I think it was probably the most exciting football I've ever seen the Indian national football team play. Right. But 2023 and 2024 were very contrasting years, not just in terms of, I would say, results, but also I think the way we even performed in matches. Right. So as a coach, yes, there were a bunch of injuries, right? A lot of injuries to very important players. But was there anything going behind the scenes that you think was probably partly responsible for the lack of results? Because I remember 2023 was probably the height of, fan engagement, fan support for the team, and, the quality of football that we were playing as a nation. So why the contrasting 23 and 2024?
There are several reasons for such a contrast in the results and the football we played. The main reason which you mentioned is injury of key players. When you just mention Ashik Kurunian, Sahal, Sandesh Jingan, Anwar Ali, Jigson Singh, we speak about 5 spinal players which are so important for this team. So losing half of the team ahead of such important months and games for the national team, it was a huge disadvantage. Apart from that, not providing what was needed to the national team to prepare well, to have a good travels, to have a proper organized travels prior to the most important games, not providing a long camp prior to the Asian Cup, not allowing us to represent India in a proper way at the Asian Games, where I was convinced that with under 23 only, without senior players, we can do wonders, because we had a team which was selected, trained, and prepared to achieve great things. And all these things, take your focus away from the main things which are there, which should be a football pitch. You need to fight with the administrators. You need to be dragged into politics which are surrounding the AIFF, and that's not a good thing. If the coach is not focused on the job he needs to do, then bad things happen.
So, Coach, now talking about the politics as well, now that you've mentioned it, I just sort of interviewed Kalyan Chaubey as well a month ago. I had a chance to talk to Shachi Prabhakaran as well. And it was very clear, right? It is pulling each other down for, the sake of probably the presidential position, or probably the reason that XYZ was terminated. It is very obvious, there is a power struggle at the helm of AIFF, right? Is it just with the president, or you can't just blame the president, it's the entire system out there? So with your experience, how dominant it is, and were there any instances that you were like, this is not even normal? Politics in football is still normal, right? But there are some absurd incidents that happen.
Let me tell you that all football federations are somehow involved with politics. It's not different in India. But these politics which are inside football houses elsewhere are not hurting the teams which are run by the Football Federation. They are trying to help. They are trying to provide. Is it financial support? Is it logistic support? Is it whatever is there? Is it a law, change of the law, whatever is there, because football is the most exciting sport in the world, most followed, brings most revenue, number one by far. So wherever we speak about football, the things are spoken in a positive way. You tell me, when was the last time, apart from last season, and only because of the senior national team achieving results and playing wonderful football, where there were positive talks and articles about Indian football?
No one remembers.
You can't remember because there were none,
Correct.
But I need to tell you, when I entered the job, the things were run much better.
Like
from 2019, under the Praful Patel, Kushal Das, and especially Abhishek Yadav, who was technical director, always there, available and being with the team, following the team, organizing everything for the team. Nothing was missing. On a daily basis, discussing football, future steps, and everything. It was functioning. We were working really hard to create a new team which will be productive for India and which was there to make Indian people proud. And then new people came after administrators left the football house. So we were quite confused at the beginning for several months. But I created good relation with Shaji. He was the general secretary at that time, and we had a good communication. But obviously, the internal war between him and Kalyan went far worse than anyone expected. And Shaji leaving the football house, just all the support disappeared, which should be there for the national team. The agreement which was made between General Secretary and the head coach at that time in October 2023 about contract extension was not honored, was not recognized. And since then, since September 2023, problems started and they were just expanding, going for worse, Even Kalyan tried and he approached me a couple of times and promised that everything will be sorted and recognized and honored as it was agreed. Nothing happened. He was just lying to me and betraying me, and at the same time I was betraying good part of my staff because I promised to them what I'm going to do to them.
Coach, like on the contrary to what you said, right? The narrative around Indian football, at least since Kalyan Chaubey took in, has always been that Praful Patel being an administrator and not a footballer per se, right? He was never there for the federation. He never, attention was not paid to football. And now, since a former footballer came into the president's position, Indian football would get a lot of support, would get the actual support that it needs. So according to you, what you're saying, it is complete opposite of what it used to be.
I will try to be quite clear here. The difference between Praful Patel and Kalyan Chaubey is enormous. It's huge. Praful Patel was established politician when he entered the Football Federation, while Kalyan Chaubey is trying to make his political career through the football chair. That's a huge difference. And that's the only thing he's thinking about and taking care of, So that's not good for the football in India, and Indian football needs a better person there. Football needs a man who is already established and fulfilled in all his expectations in his private life, with his achievements, someone who is powerful enough to bring enough financial support to the Football Federation, not someone who will just look how to spend money from the Football Federation on himself and use the chair of the president of Football Federation for his private interests.
So, Coach, one of the, while I was talking to Kalyan Chaubey as well, what he mentioned was that, lack of funds, lack of money, he can only use the money that he has, and that the money that he gets from the government of India is very less to run a huge body like AIFF. On the other hand,
excuse me, I will cut you here. If he's coming from the leading political party, then prior to entering the Football Federation to run for the chair, he should have clear what his party will provide as a support to him, because he is from the leading party. Otherwise, he shouldn't go there. Because in any other way, whatever he promises will not happen, because nothing can happen without enough financial support. And don't forget that BJP had cut our budget 85% during Praful Patel time, and that didn't change. So the football organization is the lowest supported, financially supported sport organization in India, and still very huge expectations are there.
But coach, I'm pretty sure, when the presidential elections happened back in 2022, right? He won with a 33-1 margin against Baichung Bhutia, one of the greatest footballers to come out of the nation. Do you not think that plans would have been presented? Because, such a clear one-sided victory would have at least meant something, that the plans or the vision that he had are the ones which is right for the, sport in the country?
Listen, everyone knows how that happened. If you are mentioning the result there, that result should be far different if there was a democratic election. Okay.
Would you want to sort of put more light on this? Like, can you tell us what happened?
Because everyone knows behind the scene what happened and who came where, and to say to all the state officials who were delegates to vote what needs to be done. So these things shouldn't be done in football. We need to have people running for the presidential chair with the clear programs. What will be done, how much financial support they will bring. They need to make sure that whatever they say is fulfilled once they win the election. It's same with the politics there, So I don't think that Kalyan Chaubey, without party support, he wouldn't win one vote. Believe me. So that's not a good choice.
Understood. Okay, so coach, okay, moving aside, let's say from Kalyan for once, talking about the ISL, right? When the ISL started 10, 12 years ago, it was supposed to be the game changer. Yes, it has brought in money in the sport where players are financially much better than they were earlier. Do you think in terms of footballing ability, it has made our players better, or there is not much difference, let's say 10 years from now, 10 years before and now?
No, players are improving, definitely. No one can say that's not the truth, but the speed of improvement is not good enough. That's the biggest problem, because other countries are having better speed of progress than India. And I'm speaking about lower ranked countries, which will soon overtake India in the rankings. Everybody is using all available tools which are there to make the national team stronger than it is. Everybody is using the right to use players of their origin, which are born and developed abroad and playing in Europe, never mind which tire, and that brings huge quality into the side, better game understanding, better game intensity, and all these things which are really important. I will remind you what one of my colleagues, and he is not someone unknown, his name is Robbie Fowler, what he said after first couple of weeks managing his team in India. He said that these players were never coached. That's telling you enough, So if we speak about taking care of the national team, then you should have players who are coached well, who are developed well, and who are capable of playing first touch football. That's not the case in India. So apart from working a lot on changing the mindset of the players, on helping them to understand that there shouldn't be any fear in football once you face any opponent, whoever is there, that the game should be played in a brave way, trying to keep the opponent far away from your goal and trying to make the opponent making mistakes in front of their box instead of making mistakes on the edge of our box. That's a huge difference, and that's the point which we changed in the mental strength and the philosophy of Indian players who were representing India under us. That mindset change and the mental strength which we introduced to the players was very effective and very beneficial for the Indian national team, and that's something which is still there, which needs to be used, because with so many young players which we introduced to Indian senior national team, there is still enough time for these players to do some things, some good things for Indian football, because they are still 23, 24-year-old. So it's still 6-7 years ahead of them. If injuries doesn't stop them representing the country, then they can achieve some results.
So, Igor, now, where does grassroots football in India, according to you, stand right now? Is it existent? Is it getting better? Or is it the same scenario where it will still take 10, 20, 30 years?
I don't know what to tell you there.
Understood. Okay. So, Igor,
apart from having few academies, it's really difficult. When you have a country of 1.5 billion, then you can start comparing yourself with China. China already has 5 million kids in developmental programs, well taken care of, coached by the foreign coaches, taken care of their studies, their schools, their nutrition. Everything is there in place. Huge investments are happening there. And I'm not saying this needs to happen in India, because to become a football player, it doesn't take much apart from lots of passion, love, and hard work. A little bit of talent and one ball, only one ball. That's what it takes. So we are not speaking about huge investments. We are speaking about spreading the football culture in each corner of the country. We are speaking about asking FIFA to help with a couple of million balls every season, to take these balls to the villages, poor areas where kids can enjoy playing football, on the fields, on the streets, wherever it is. That will develop football. Bigger number of kids playing football will bring more talented kids at the major age to compete for the national team jersey.
Igor, one thing that you mentioned in one of the interviews that you've just given, right, is 10 Arsene Wenger can come. Arsene Wenger coming into India doesn't make a difference, right? What, on the contrary, Kalyan said to me in the interview that he gave me that, FIFA Academy has been set up, 5 more academies are coming. We want to establish a style of football that the entire country should play. Why do you think that someone like an Arsene Wenger, again, I was also of the same opinion, we can have all the celebrity, people like Arsene Wenger or the ISL superstar that we had once we launched ISL. Why do you think this will not make a difference to Indian football?
It didn't make difference anywhere. Why should make difference in India?
So you think that FIFA's help, especially when it comes to setting up academies, does not help any country?
FIFA, if it's true what he's saying, FIFA will try to help, but that will not make national team better. That's what I'm telling you, because clubs are there. Clubs need to produce players for the national team. They need to be competitive ones. We need to have competitions for all the underage groups. And how to organize that in such a diverse country with so many differences, with 36 states, with 700 and some districts, it's difficult. But at least there needs to be a structure about what needs to be done and how to start doing things. If we know that there is 6 or 7 football states in India with a good football culture, then let's focus on that. Let's go to these 6, 7 states and develop football in a proper way there in these states. And this will be more than enough, because these 6, 7 states have enough population, even more than Europe. You understand? So you cannot, in such huge country with such a huge population, without financial support, try to develop football in each corner of the country. So the plan is needed there. This is really important. And especially what is most important is that you need to bring people who made things good in their states to lead the football federation, not to keep them somewhere on the side.
And do you think people are being kept on the sidelines when it comes to state federations?
Definitely.
Understood. Igor, but when you say that, let's just focus on, these 6 to 7 footballing states, right? Now, apart from these 6 to 7 states, at least 60-70% of the population would miss out. And when you say, that everyone needs to play football, the pool needs to be bigger, why not approach a very holistic state level approach rather than just focusing on certain states?
Saying we should forget about the rest of the states. But the approach should be different in those states because they need to start from scratches.
Understood.
That's the difference. If we have Uttar Pradesh, which is the biggest state in India with 250 million population, without one single club.
Correct.
No club, no football played at all. That's a totally different approach.
For that matter, I think the entire North India has one club.
Only with academies, with young kids to start developing football. But in the states where you already have competitions and the club's approach needs to be different.
Understood. That makes sense. Igor, okay, let's take this hypothetical situation. You have the chance to do whatever you want, right? To change Indian football for good. What would be the first 3 priorities for you if you have the liberty to do anything and you have a 5-year goal? In 5 years, I want to become the top 10, top 15 in Asia.
Since my first day of work, we were speaking about 2 directions which should happen at the same time. Making immediate impact with the results, introducing players of Indian origin to Indian football to represent the country, and starting with creating a plan of creating 5-6 sports science football centers, excellence centers, in 5-6 regions to cover whole India, where we could start the selection of the players and introduce the work which needs to be done from age 6 to the age of 18. So at that stage, I discussed many things with Abhishek about how it should be done. At one point, we were also discussing that maybe the places which are already there, which were run by the government as football centers and somehow not producing any quality players at the end of the day, but costing the government money, that we should discuss with the government taking over these places and introducing the different program and the structure of the work into these facilities, but obviously with the changes in the AIFF and administrators coming in, everything changed.
Understood. So, Igor, one thing that fans have a lot of complaint about is, let's say for 2023, for example, or even the game against Qatar, the last game that we played against Qatar, that there are certain matches that imbibe a sense of hope that we play beautiful football, right? But like that would happen, like 4 matches we'll play very well, like exceedingly well, and then other 4 or 5 matches would be very poor, right? What is the reason for these inconsistencies, right? Because one match fans are like, oh yeah, this is the type of football I play.
In a very simple way. You will find the reason, and I will tell you. Go back in my 5-year work and check wherever we had a long camp, we played brilliant football. Never mind the result. We played brilliant football. Whenever we had a short camp and disorganized travel and everything there, we were terrible. Simple as that. You cannot become a great team with 3 days of work. That's impossible. Whoever was saying, yeah, but FIFA window is same for everyone and it should be. No, it shouldn't be like that, because India has possibility to provide enough time for the national team to work, because the season goes on for less than 5 months in India. So why can't we allow and make the calendar in a such way to allow national team to have a longer camps? It's possible. Why someone doesn't want to do that? Because of the cost, because of the money, because the budget should be expanded from the commercial sponsor, because the cost would be bigger for them if the league stops, if the league goes longer, if they need to pay more, the broadcast, people who are engaged and everyone else. It's all about money at the end of the day. Who suffers? The national team.
So, Igor, you've also mentioned in that interview that, money is not being used where the money should be used, but the money is being used somewhere else. Can you expand on what somewhere else means? Where is this money being used by AIFF or the president or the administrators?
I think that the court, which is ahead of us, will show the things. When you go back and look financial statements, which I heard of, I cannot put my hand in the fire and say it is what it is. But I don't have reason not to trust the people who told me things, how the money was spent unreasonably on certain things which got nothing to do with football.
So, after your media interaction, AIFF put out a long statement, right? And mentioned a bunch of pointers that, this was said, this.
More time on writing that statement or trying to discuss how to help the national team in the last 3 years.
And yeah, that looked slightly immature, right? It was very, targeted. But again, just for fans' clarity and for everyone to have an understanding, I just want to have some questions on what AIFF said and your response to those questions, just so that everyone is aware, what the entire scenario is.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's start with their knowledge how to count the days. So they say that the GPS was lost in September 2023, and it was delivered to national team back again in May 2024, and that's 50 days. Maybe 50 working days in this period, but this is not important what is working days. What is important here, how long it took them to replace the GPS, to find a new one, to purchase the new one. This is the important thing. That's how disorganized they are. That's telling you how much they don't care. I can show you so many mails where I pointed out the importance of the GPS for the national team. I can show you the email where I'm asking Satya to purchase video cameras for us to record the training sessions which were there available for us through Joy Gabriel, our match analyst, and the cost for this is $1,000 for 12 months. $1,000. And knowing how
the team did not have cameras for
it operates, I said, I will pay for this because we were warned that we need to make the payment because this is one equipment left. We need to get it on time. And Satya told me, no need, coach, for you to pay. We're going to sort it out. Do you think it happened? It didn't happen. They didn't do it on time. Being so disappointed with their behavior, with their lies, with their promises. Since September 2023, I was always on the edge of resigning. Always. Because wherever I got together with my boss, and as much as I tried to focus and do my work in the best way, I was so much distracted by them, by their poor organization, by everything which was necessary from them to do for the national team, that I couldn't even operate normally as a football coach. If I'm telling you that, and I will repeat this because I said this already in the previous interview, game against Afghanistan in Abbas City, at the match day, we still don't know which flights are we taking to go back to Guwahati. We still don't have the flights. On the match day, I've been distracted with which flights we're going to take, coach. We have option to go with these two flights, one bunch of players, with this flight, with this flight. Listen, on the -1 at least, or on the match day, the coach should think only about the football game and the team. But these are the things no one knows how the things are run in the house. And never mind how many times I said, we need to have a clear calendar for 12 months at least, in advance. Travels organized, tickets booked, everything sorted in a perfect way. No, in India, it's happening day by day or 2 days prior to the flights. Then tickets are expensive, obviously, or more expensive than before. You don't have enough seats in the planes, all sort of problems you face there. And it's not strange that we reached Guwahati after the Afghanistan team. It's not strange that the Afghanistan team had slept in the hotel in Bengaluru all night after playing in Aba City against us, and then next day they reached Guwahati, and our team was flying with 3 different flights without 1 single minute of sleep all night to reach Guwahati after Afghanistan team. And then people ask how we lose against Afghanistan. But these are huge things in football preparation. You know, we lost the game last 30 minutes. We didn't lose game in the first 60. First 60, we were 1-0 up.
So, Igor, when you brought it to the, was there any sort of reply? You can understand, them being, was there any reply from AIFF? Or is it not the team manager's job role to be coordinating with the flights and all of those things and not the coach?
No, we functioned with the team manager providing to me options and flights, but that was so disturbing because I choose the flights which were options. I choose one option. Then he goes back to them. Then 3 days later he comes, it's not possible, coach, we don't have enough seats. How you can tell me that as an option if there is not enough seats? Why should I spend 3, 4, 5 days thinking about the flights for the team? Because why I wanted to supervise this, because in the past Indian team used to travel during the night, which is not convenient. Football teams, sport teams shouldn't be losing the sleeping hours in the flights. You need to flight in adequate hour as a professional sport team. That's why I wanted to supervise. Otherwise, we would fly and lose the nights all over again, But anyway, it happened. As much as I tried to supervise and sort things out, it didn't help.
Okay, coach, one thing that has been in the media and also now pointed out by the AIFF in their statement is the astrologer. I think for once and for all, I want you to sort of end that thing. Who is this astrologer? What is this conversation about the astrologer? Did it happen? What is the entire story?
Hi to everyone. He's a fantastic guy. And anyway, as he told me, everybody is visiting him, but no one wants to admit in India. So he's obviously well-known person there, Nothing else to say there. I already answered these questions and allegations, which are so stupid and ridiculous. It's so disappointing that once again these guys who know really well, because that topic was discussed by the administrators, the official report was written, my report is there. The guys who were Mr. J.D. Basu and Ranjit Bajaj were there present when this was discovered. And I had several meetings with administrators and explained everything to them. And everything is very clear. But someone obviously from this big corporate group is trying to point finger at me again and again and again. Where was the astrologer last year when we won 3 trophies? Where was he? He was not with us, no? So who's got a need to keep mentioning this again?
Understood. Coach, okay. Last bit on this AIFF statement, then I want to dive into the footballing bit. Sorry, but I just want to clear it out for the fans. Last bit and last thing. The statement that AIFF put that, Igor Stimac said in the AFC conference that I only have 4 people in my support staff team, while we've provided, 14, 15 people in the support staff team to Igor Stimac. So what is your response to this?
They are trying to jump on me because I was saying something at the coaching conference in Kuala Lumpur, which was funny, and everybody laughed in a positive way. The thing is that we don't have enough staff and support staff. That's clear. If you look Asia, the average size of the staff, and when we speak staff, that's head coach and the coaches. Support staff are doctors, physios, masseurs, team manager, and all other boys. Nutritionists. Okay. Staff consists of head coach, assistant coaches, goalkeeper coach, match analyst, sports psychologist, nutritionist. That's it. So average size of the staff in Asia is 11. 11. How much we have?
4.
It's me, Mahesh, goalkeeper coach Frano, fitness coach Luca. Now, Shamal Wanabi is my friend who came to help us, who sacrificed his salaries and his work to come to help country of his origin and myself, his friend. And I told him, please, don't ask anything because our budget is so small. Let's just introduce your work to these guys so they can see how much you can help this team and us. And then we're going to discuss the salary and everything else. When we came to that point, that became headache for the AIFF. Match analyst, Joy. We were stealing him, renting him.
Yeah.
I was a good friend with Manolo, who was always there for us and trying to help me and the team, and Joy also, you know. So what are these guys saying? They count my friends who are there working for us without being paid. They consider them staff also. The second goalkeeper coach, who was previously with us, Tomislav, who is one of top 5 definitely goalkeeper coaches in Europe, which means in the world. He reduced his salary 3 times to come to work with me in India. Okay? Because I was the one who introduced him to the football world big stage when I took him to Croatian national team. To repay that, when I called him to come to help me in India, he came. He didn't ask nothing about salary. Okay. And when I told him to come again to help India, and don't forget, he was just signing from Hajduk Split to Lazio, he came to help us for the Asian Cup.
Wow.
And now these guys in AIFF are mentioning that because they paid the flight ticket for him. To someone whose salary is normally 30,000 euros. These guys are stupid. They are ridiculous. They shouldn't speak or write anything because they are just making themselves look stupid.
Coach, again, not going to ask much into all the allegations anymore. I want to talk about some football because I think that is for the ultimate good. I want to leave it up to that. Thank you for this, at least. Thank you for this bit, for clarifying everything that the AIFF put out. I'm very sure that fans, I think, would be happy to know the truth. I think, but more than that, would be very critical of the AIFF as well. Because I think, again...
One thing before we go to an end. These guys who are against me now...
I still have a couple of more questions. Just wanted to end the allegation.
These guys which are now writing statements against me, pointing fingers at me and all that. I am much more Indian than them. I have given to India much more than they will ever do.
And again, I think with the results that you've given us, I'm sure everyone in India, I can at least, leave others. I can speak for myself at least. And I know that you've given us the best year in football that at least I have had the chance to see with my own eyes. And again, coach, nothing but extremely grateful for that. And again, I know there is like a very different narrative, especially after what happened this year. But I know with the conversations I've had with people that people are extremely grateful to you because India as a country lost its connection with the national team was never connected to the head coach. We were never connected to Stephen Constantine. And I think for the first time, there was a head coach who was emotional for the country, was there for the country. And whatever happened in the last 6 months, we are extremely sorry for that. But I know that, everyone is very, very grateful to, to what you brought to the Indian national team. Final 2-3 questions, especially on the youth players and the players coming in. There's a new generation or new pool of players coming. Players like Vikram, players like Edmund, Jay, or David for that matter. Do you think these guys show promise? Do you think these guys show that Indian football is probably producing slightly better players at the ground level than it used to?
I would just say that they are exceptions in the whole that football world in India, which will not at the end be enough. Sorry to sound not optimistic, because you see what's happening in India. It's killing the hunger of these boys for football and for achievements. India cannot become successful until Indian players go and challenge themselves abroad in the better leagues. That's the only way for them to improve their football. With a better speed, that's what I'm saying. The speed of their improvement at the moment is not good enough to keep India at the same rankings. To improve that, our boys need to start thinking about challenging themselves and going to better leagues to improve their football. That will bring and add extra quality to the national team. Otherwise, nothing will happen, believe me.
Do you think anyone in the current pool, especially the younger players, when I see someone like an Anwar, right, for that matter, or someone like a Vikram, I see a lot of potential. Do you think anyone, not just these two guys in particular, has the potential to go abroad? I'm not saying, the top leagues or the first division of these leagues, but even in the second, do you think these players have the quality to make it?
No, we are talking and discussing something which is unrealistic to happen. That's the problem.
And why is that, coach?
Because for Anwar, who is at the moment the highest earner in ISL, to go to a second tier in Europe and reduce his salary 10 to 15 times to challenge themselves, it's a huge problem for the boy. Why should he do that? That's why I'm telling you, the structure which is actual in Indian football is killing the hunger for improvement for these boys. They will not go anywhere. They don't have a good reason to leave the comfortable zone they are put in, because things are structured unrealistically in regards to the global value of football player and football worth. And this is killing Indian football for the future. So all you need to start thinking is investing all you have into new generations. Forget now about these boys which are 23, 24 now. It's too late for them already. They are not young anymore. That's not young in Europe.
Correct.
In Europe, young is 16, 17. That's young. Already when you are 20, you need to be experienced enough to handle the things, to take responsibility. In India, it's kind of different. You are still young when you are 26, 27. Shouldn't be like that. With all the cheating on age and everything else.
Coach, what for you personally, has been your biggest takeaway from your 5 years that you've spent in India? What has been, something that you really look back to? What has been the best things for you out of these 4-5 years?
I developed great emotions for Indian people, definitely. I will always be supporting the team there. I've made great friendships, created a family environment in the national team dressing room where everybody was well respected and everyone respected anyone. And it was difficult to leave all that, very difficult. But it's been proved once again, if not all are involved in and holding the same stick and pushing forward, no good things can happen, India is very divided country in regards to the private interests against what society needs and most of the people there. And it's same in football. When you come and see the relations in the football house, then it becomes clear that no good work is valued and honored. It's about friendships and doing favors to this guy or that guy. It's about hiring, firing, and not thinking about who can do well for the football house. That's the problem, you know. I was part of generation which created the strong base for the success of Croatian football, so I know how the things should be done, and I was trying to help there and to do things. But when you see that just me speaking the truth was a huge problem for many of the guys there, and I became the enemy number one for our stakeholder who was there without any reason whatsoever, because when you speak the truth, you should be welcomed and honored. And the truth should be taken as something to help you to change things and turn things around. At the end of the day, one clause in my contract was giving me power to do so. I was obliged to speak the truth, to inform public sincerely about what's going on and what's happening and what should be done, because not only my contract is giving me power to be a head coach, but also I'm kind of an advisor there and a person with great football knowledge who should be giving good advices and helping the country to rise up in football. But I was either tried to be stopped talking or hidden somewhere on the side, so no one asked me the question I should answer, you know. So the things
What would you like to?
in that way, you know. If you're looking for someone who will not say the truth and who will just cover his head with a salary and take it as granted to be Indian coach, then Indian football is going nowhere.
What would you want to say to these people at the top of AIFF? You know, the administrators. One thing that you would want to say to these guys, probably.
I mean, I told them enough. They know. They listen. The sad thing is that they know everything and they do nothing. The best thing they should do for Indian football is to leave. Just leave. Go, leave. Indian football needs better people. It needs people who understand football and who are ready to help football. And especially Indian football needs people who are capable of helping, who can bring financing there, who can liberate the football house from being independent on the reliance money. If you're not economically free, you cannot rise. If you depend on someone, you cannot rise up.
Coach, two final things. Number one, if given a chance with change in administration, change in federation, would you come back to coach the national team again?
What do you mean, in India?
Yes.
It's difficult to say that. No, I don't think so, to be honest. I might be the biggest supporter you will have away from India, you know, but I gave to India my probably best working years, you know, because I was 51 when I came there. So quite good years of working years I left in India and trying to help and giving everything and doing everything to help you. So I have other plans, to be honest, and I think that what I know about football and how much I can do in football deserves better place. I should honor myself a little bit now.
Last thing, one message to the Indian football fans, you know, people who've loved you, probably not so much the last 6 months, but people who've always, you know, thought of you as someone who's changed.
I'll tell you what, there is one thing, because it's a quite huge difference between what you can find in social media and what's real life.
Absolutely.
I was surrounded with the love all over India, wherever I went. Is it Goa? Is it Manipur? Is it Kerala? Is it West Bengal? Is it Uttar Pradesh? Is it Haryana? You mentioned it. I was surrounded with the love and with the friends and with the support, sincere support. That's what I'm interested in. I don't care about social media and the guys who never leave their homes, who are attached to the screen and just try to destroy someone and hurt someone. These destructive people are not my interest, I don't care about them, but I love them. My message to them: I love you guys. Keep doing great work.
I've received a lot of slack from people online. I posted a video of you online why Igor Stimac should continue as the head coach. I think I posted it in January or after the Asian Games. I think just after the World Cup qualifiers, I received a lot of comments. Did you, finally, are you happy now? You supported him, then you did all of that. I received a lot of messages like that.
But listen, these are people who's got nothing to do.
Correct.
And normally this is the same as we speak about actual problems in European football, where we have radical groups of supporters creating lots of problems and damages to the football clubs and everyone who is trying to be constructive. And it's normal. There is always radical side of everything in life, and we need to understand that also. But we should ignore that. We shouldn't give them importance, because if you base your work on social media impact or on social media interests, then you are gone. And that's how football house is run at the moment, based on the social media feeling. So it's a populist thing, and it's not good for Indian football. It's hurting Indian football a lot.
Coach, thank you so much. I genuinely wanted to have this conversation. Yes, obviously because of curious what happened, but genuinely, just wanted to interact with you, talk to you.
No, nothing happened. We had 5 great years. What happened? We have developed different India which started playing football, enjoying football, not caring who we play against. We had some amazing games. We won some great trophies. We introduced so many young, talented players to Indian senior national team. So why should we feel sorry? We should be proud about everything what was done there. We should feel sorry that we didn't qualify for the 3rd round of the World Cup qualifiers. I take part of responsibility, definitely, but couldn't do more in such circumstances. I'm sorry to say this. That's why I ask other part also to take responsibility, their part, which is far bigger than mine. So, guys, I love you all. With God blessing, I'm always here for you. Okay.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you for your time. It's been an absolute honor. Thank you for what you did to the national team. Thank you for probably creating millions and millions of more supporters for the national team that we probably did not have, and for these 4 trophies that you won. Cannot be more grateful. Thank you for your time, Igor. And I would love to stay in touch. A lot to learn from you, not just in football, but with your time and with your experience in life. And looking forward to stay connected, Igor.
You say well. Keep doing great job. I will follow you. And anytime you need me, just it takes one message.
Thank you so much, Coach. Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.